Life is not about the trophies on your shelf or the medals around your neck. It's about who you become along the way. The real victory is in the growth, the learning, the overcoming. So let's talk about winning, not the kind that gets you applause, but the kind that transforms you from the inside out. When we focus solely on winning, we miss the whole point. We get so caught up in the end result that we forget to enjoy the process. We forget to appreciate the small steps, the daily grind, the moments of doubt and the breakthroughs. But here's the truth, those are the things that really matter. Think about it. When you are laser focused on winning, what happens? You get tense. You get anxious. You start to doubt yourself. Every setback feels like a disaster. Every obstacle seems insurmountable. You are so fixated on that finish line that you do not even notice the beautiful scenery around you. But when you shift your focus from winning to growing, everything changes. Suddenly those setbacks become learning opportunities. Those obstacles become chances to prove your resilience. The journey itself becomes the reward. I am not saying winning is not important. Of course it is. We all want to succeed. We all want to reach our goals. But if that's all we care about, we are setting ourselves up for disappointment and frustration. Here's why life doesn't always go according to plan. You can do everything right and still not get the result you wanted. If your happiness and self-worth are tied to winning, what happens when you do not win? You feel like a failure. You feel worthless. And that's no way to live. Instead, what if we measured success differently? What if instead of asking, did I win, we asked, did I grow? Did I learn? Did I give it my all? Those are the questions that really matter. When you focus on growth instead of winning, you become unstoppable. Because even when things do not go your way, you are still moving forward. You are still getting better. You are still becoming the best version of yourself. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young athlete who dreamed of winning Olympic gold. He trained harder than anyone else. He sacrificed everything for his dream. But when the big day came, he didn't win. He didn't even medal. He was devastated. But then something amazing happened. As he reflected on his journey, he realized how much he had learned, how much he had grown, how many incredible people he had met along the way. And he understood that even though he hadn't won the gold, he had gained something far more valuable. That athlete went on to become a coach, inspiring and mentoring other young athletes. He found his true calling not in winning medals, but in helping others grow and achieve their dreams. His failure to win led him to his greatest success. That's the power of shifting your focus from winning to growing. It turns every experience into an opportunity. It makes you resilient in the face of adversity. It gives you the strength to keep going when things get tough. I know what some of you might be thinking, but if I do not focus on winning, won't I lose my competitive edge? Won't I become complacent? Not at all. In fact, the opposite is true. When you focus on growth, you are always pushing yourself to be better. You are not competing against others, you are competing against yourself. And that's a much more powerful motivator than any external reward. Think about the most successful people you know, the ones who have really made a difference in the world. I bet they didn't get there by obsessing over winning. They got there by constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly pushing their limits. They face setbacks and failures just like everyone else. But instead of letting those setbacks define them, they use them as fuel. They ask themselves, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to become better? And that's what made them unstoppable. So how do we make this shift? How do we stop fixating on winning and start focusing on growth? It starts with changing our mindset. Instead of seeing challenges as threats, see them as opportunities. Instead of fearing failure, welcome it as a teacher. Instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Set goals, absolutely. But make sure those goals are about becoming better, not just about beating others. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. And remember, the real competition is with yourself. When you approach life this way, something magical happens. You start to enjoy the journey. You find joy in the daily grind. You become more resilient, more adaptable, more confident. And here's the irony. When you stop focusing on winning, you often end up winning more. Because you are not paralyzed by the fear of failure. You are not crushed by every setback. You just keep moving forward, keep growing, keep improving. Think about a tree. It doesn't focus on being the tallest or having the most leaves. It just focuses on growing, on reaching towards the sun, on deepening its roots. And in doing so, they become strong, beautiful, and resilient. You'll be like that tree. Focus on your growth. Focus on deepening your roots, on reaching for the sun. The results will take care of themselves. This doesn't mean you should never set goals or strive for success. Goals are important. They give us direction, they motivate us, but they should be about becoming better, not just about beating others. Set goals that challenge you to grow. Goals that push you out of your comfort zone. Goals that make you a better person, not just a more successful one. And when you reach those goals, set new ones. Because the journey never really ends. There's always room for growth, always room for improvement. Remember, life is not a sprint. It's not even a marathon. It's a journey of continuous growth and learning. And the real winners are those who embrace that journey, who find joy in the process of becoming their best selves. So let go of the need to always win. Let go of the fear of failure. Embrace the challenges, the setbacks, the failures. See them for what they really are: opportunities to grow, to learn, to become stronger. When you do this, you will find that you are no longer held back by the fear of losing. You are no longer paralyzed by the pressure to win. You are free to take risks, to try new things, to push your limits. And that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to achieve things you never thought possible. Not because you were focused on winning, but because you were focused on growing. Think about it this way. Every great achievement in history wasn't about winning. It was about growth, about pushing boundaries, about becoming more than we were before. The Wright brothers didn't set out to win a race. They set out to grow human knowledge and capability. They failed countless times, but each failure taught them something new. And eventually they achieved what many thought was impossible. Nelson Mandela didn't focus on winning political battles. He focused on growing as a person, on expanding his capacity for forgiveness and love. And in doing so, he changed a nation and inspired the world. Mother Teresa didn't set out to win accolades. She focused on growing in compassion, on expanding her ability to serve others. And she touched countless lives in the process. These people changed the world not because they were focused on winning, but because they were committed to growth. They were committed to becoming the best versions of themselves, to pushing the boundaries of what was possible. You have that same potential within you. You have the power to grow, to learn, to become more than you are today. But it starts with shifting your focus from winning to growing. So how do we do this in our daily lives? How do we make this shift from a winning mindset to a growth mindset? First, start each day with a simple question. How can I grow today? Maybe it's learning something new. Maybe it's pushing yourself a little harder in your workout. Maybe it's having that difficult conversation you have been avoiding. Whatever it is, find a way to stretch yourself, to step out of your comfort zone. Second, reframe your challenges. When you face an obstacle, instead of asking, how can I overcome this? Ask, what can this teach me? Every challenge is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to become stronger. Third, celebrate your efforts, not just your achievements. Did you try something new today? Celebrate that. Did you push through when you wanted to quit? Celebrate that. These small victories are the building blocks of real lasting success. Fourth, surround yourself with growth-minded people. Find friends, mentors, colleagues who are committed to their own growth. Their energy and enthusiasm will inspire and motivate you. Fifth, keep a growth journal. At the end of each day, write down what you learned, how you grew, what challenges you faced, and how you dealt with them. This will help you see your progress over time and keep you motivated. Sixth, embrace failure as a teacher. When things do not go as planned, do not beat yourself up. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to become better? Remember, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Seventh, set growth goals, not just achievement goals. Instead of I want to win the competition, try I want to improve my skills by 10%. Instead of I want to be the top salesperson, try I want to become better at understanding customer needs. Eighth, practice gratitude. Be thankful for the opportunities to grow, even when they come disguised as challenges. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, from where you want to be to how far you have come. Ninth, be patient with yourself. Growth takes time. You won't see results overnight. But if you stay committed to the process, you will see changes. Trust in the power of consistent, small improvements. And finally, remember that growth is not just about you. As you grow, you increase your capacity to contribute to others, to make a difference in the world. Your growth ripples out, touching lives in ways you may never even realize. Imagine a world where everyone was focused on growth instead of winning. A world where we celebrated progress instead of just results. A world where we saw each other not as competitors, but as fellow travelers on this journey of growth and self-improvement. That's the world we can create, one person at a time, starting with ourselves. Shift your focus. Stop worrying so much about winning and start focusing on growing. Embrace the challenges. Welcome the setbacks. See every experience as an opportunity to learn, to improve, to become more than you were yesterday. The goal is not to be better than someone else. The goal is to be better than you were yesterday. And when you commit to that, when you truly embrace that mindset, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Success is not about reaching a destination. It's about becoming the kind of person who is capable of achieving your dreams. It's about developing the skills, the mindset, the character that will carry you through any challenge. When you focus on growth, you are investing in yourself. You are building a foundation that will support you not just in achieving one goal, but in whatever you choose to do in life. And here's the beautiful thing. When you focus on growth, you free yourself from the tyranny of comparison. You are no longer measuring yourself against others. You are measuring yourself against your own potential. This doesn't mean you will never feel the desire to win. We are human after all. Competition can be healthy and motivating, but it should never be the main focus. It should never be what drives you. Instead, let growth be your driving force. Let the desire to become your best self be what gets you out of bed in the morning. Let the excitement of learning and improving be what keeps you going when things get tough. Because when growth is your focus, every day becomes an opportunity. Every interaction becomes a chance to learn. Every challenge becomes a stepping stone to becoming a better version of yourself. And as you grow, you will find that your definition of success changes. It becomes less about external validation and more about internal fulfillment. Less about what you have and more about who you are. You will start to see success in the small victories, in the moments when you choose courage over comfort, in the times when you persist despite difficulty, in the way you handle setbacks with grace and resilience. These are the true measures of success. These are the things that will bring you lasting fulfillment and happiness. So I urge you, embrace this mindset. Embrace the journey of growth. Embrace the challenges, the setbacks, the failures. See them all as opportunities to become more than you were before. Every expert was once a beginner. Every success story is built on a foundation of failures and lessons learned. Every great achievement is the result of countless small steps forward. Your journey is unique. Your path is your own. Do not waste time comparing it to others. Instead, focus on making progress one step at a time, one day at a time. Celebrate your growth. Celebrate your progress. Celebrate the person you are becoming. And know this: as long as you are growing, you are succeeding. As long as you are learning, you are winning. As long as you are pushing yourself to be better, you are on the right path. So go out there and grow. Push your limits. Expand your horizons. Become more than you ever thought possible. Because when you focus on growth, you do not just win in the short term. You win for life. You become unstoppable. You become truly successful. And that, my friends, is the greatest victory of all. Remember, life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. It's not about reaching the top of the mountain. It's about enjoying the climb. So climb on, grow on, and know that with every step, with every challenge, with every setback and every triumph, you are becoming more. You are becoming better. You are becoming the person you were always meant to be. And that is what true success looks like. That's what real winning is all about. Because when you do, you will find that you have already won. Not because you have beaten anyone else, but because you have become the best version of yourself. And in the end, that's the only victory that really matters. It's the victory of personal growth, of becoming who you are meant to be. This victory is not something you can hold in your hands or display on a shelf. It's something you carry within you, a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are on the right path. This victory is about more than just personal achievement. It's about the ripple effect you create in the world around you. As you grow and improve, you inspire others to do the same. Your journey becomes a beacon of hope, showing others what's possible when you commit to continuous improvement. Think about the people in your life who have had the biggest impact. Chances are they weren't necessarily the ones with the most trophies or the biggest bank accounts. They were likely the ones who showed resilience in the face of adversity, who kept pushing forward even when things got tough. They were the ones who focused on growth rather than just winning. These people understand a fundamental truth: life is not a zero-sum game. Your growth doesn't come at the expense of others. In fact, when you grow, you create more opportunities for those around you to grow as well. You lift others up as you rise. This mindset shift from winning to growing changes everything. It changes how you approach challenges. Instead of seeing them as obstacles to be overcome, you start to see them as opportunities to learn and improve. You begin to welcome challenges, knowing that each one is making you stronger, more resilient, more capable. It changes how you view failure. When your focus is on growth, failure loses its sting. It's no longer something to be feared or avoided at all costs. Instead, it becomes a valuable teacher, offering lessons that can't be learned any other way. You start to see that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a crucial part of the success journey. This mindset shift also changes your relationships. When you are focused on growth rather than winning, you stop seeing others as competitors and start seeing them as collaborators on this journey of life. You become more open to learning from others, more willing to share your own insights and experiences. Your relationships become deeper, more meaningful, more fulfilling. It changes how you measure progress. Instead of looking at external markers of success, things like job titles, income, or social status, you start to look inward. You measure your progress by how much you have grown, how much you have learned, how much you have expanded your capacity to handle life's challenges. This shift in focus from winning to growing also changes your relationship with time. When you are obsessed with winning, time becomes your enemy. There's never enough of it. You are always racing against the clock, trying to achieve more faster. But when your focus is on growth, time becomes your ally. You understand that real, lasting change takes time. You learn to be patient with yourself, to trust the process, to enjoy the journey. This mindset also changes how you handle setbacks. When your sole focus is on winning, setbacks can be devastating. They can make you question everything, shake your confidence to its core. But when you are focused on growth, setbacks become valuable data points. They show you where you need to improve, what skills you need to develop, what areas of your life need more attention. The beauty of focusing on growth is that it's always available to you, no matter your circumstances. You do not need special equipment or a particular environment. You can grow anywhere, anytime. In fact, some of the most profound growth often happens in the most challenging circumstances. This focus on growth also helps you stay motivated in the long term. When your goal is to win, motivation can be fleeting. Once you have achieved your goal, what then? But when your goal is to grow, there's always a next step, always a new challenge to tackle, always a way to improve. It's important to understand that this focus on growth doesn't mean you never celebrate achievements. On the contrary, when you are focused on growth, you find more reasons to celebrate. You celebrate not just the big wins, but the small victories along the way. You celebrate the effort, the persistence, the courage it takes to keep pushing forward. This mindset also changes how you view success. Success becomes less about reaching a particular destination and more about who you become along the way. It's about developing the qualities that will serve you well no matter what life throws at you: resilience, adaptability, compassion, wisdom. When you focus on growth, you also develop a greater sense of self-awareness. You become more attuned to your strengths and weaknesses, your passions and your purpose. This self-awareness is crucial for true success and fulfillment in life. This growth mindset also helps you stay relevant in a rapidly changing world. When you are committed to continuous growth and learning, you are better able to adapt to new circumstances, to take advantage of new opportunities, to navigate the challenges of an ever-evolving landscape. It's worth noting that this focus on growth doesn't mean you never set goals or strive for achievement. Goals are important. They give us direction and motivation. But when your focus is on growth, your goals become more about the process than the outcome. They become about becoming better, not just about getting more. This mindset also changes how you view competition. Instead of seeing others as obstacles to be overcome, you start to see them as inspiration. Their achievements do not diminish you, they show you what's possible. They push you to grow even more. When you focus on growth, you also develop a greater sense of gratitude. You become more appreciative of the opportunities to learn and improve, even when they come disguised as challenges or setbacks. This gratitude, in turn, fuels further growth, creating a positive cycle of improvement and appreciation. This focus on growth also helps you develop a stronger sense of personal responsibility. You understand that your growth is in your hands. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can always control how you respond, how you learn, how you grow from each experience. It's important to remember that growth is not always comfortable. In fact, real growth often requires stepping out of your comfort zone. It requires facing your fears, confronting your limitations, challenging your assumptions. But when your focus is on growth, you welcome this discomfort. You see it as a sign that you are pushing your boundaries, that you are expanding your capabilities. This growth mindset also helps you develop greater empathy. As you focus on your own growth, you become more understanding of others who are on their own growth journeys. You become more patient, more supportive, more willing to lend a helping hand to those who are struggling. When you focus on growth, you also develop a greater sense of purpose. You start to see how your personal growth contributes to something larger than yourself. You begin to understand how your journey can inspire and uplift others, how your growth can contribute to the betterment of your community, your society, your world. This focus on growth also helps you develop a more balanced perspective on life. You understand that growth is not just about professional achievements or personal accolades. It's about growing in all areas of your life, your relationships, your health, your spiritual life, your contribution to society. It's worth noting that this focus on growth doesn't mean you never experience doubt or fear. These are natural human emotions. But when your focus is on growth, you learn to use these emotions as fuel for further improvement rather than letting them hold you back. This growth mindset also helps you develop greater resilience. When you are focused on growth, setbacks do not define you. They're just temporary obstacles on your path to becoming better. This resilience serves you well, not just in your personal growth journey, but in all areas of your life. When you focus on growth, you also develop a greater appreciation for the journey of life. You understand that it's not about reaching a particular destination, but about who you become along the way. You learn to find joy in the process, not just in the outcomes. This focus on growth also helps you develop a more positive outlook on life. When you are constantly looking for opportunities to learn and improve, you naturally start to see the world in a more positive light. You see challenges as opportunities, obstacles as stepping stones. It's important to remember that growth is not always linear. There will be times when you feel like you are taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But when your focus is on growth, you understand that these apparent setbacks are often where the most profound learning happens. This growth mindset also helps you develop greater patience. You understand that real, lasting change takes time. You learn to trust the process, to keep putting in the effort day after day, knowing that your consistent actions will lead to significant results over time. When you focus on growth, you also develop a greater sense of inner peace. You are not constantly comparing yourself to others or beating yourself up for not being good enough. You understand that you are on your own unique journey and you are exactly where you need to be right now. This focus on growth also helps you develop a more flexible mindset. You become more open to new ideas, new perspectives, new ways of doing things. This flexibility serves you well in all areas of life, helping you adapt to new situations and take advantage of new opportunities. It's worth noting that this focus on growth doesn't mean you never feel frustrated or discouraged. These feelings are part of the growth process. But when your focus is on growth, you learn to use these feelings as motivation to push harder, to dig deeper, to keep moving forward. This growth mindset also helps you develop a stronger sense of self-confidence. Not the kind of confidence that comes from thinking you are better than others, but the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are capable of learning, adapting, and overcoming whatever challenges come your way. When you focus on growth, you also develop a greater appreciation for the power of small, consistent actions. You understand that it's not about making dramatic changes overnight, but about making small improvements day after day. These small improvements compound over time, leading to significant transformations. This focus on growth also helps you develop a more holistic view of success. You understand that true success is not just about achieving a particular goal, but about becoming a better, more well-rounded person. It's about growing not just in your professional life, but in all areas, your relationships, your health, your personal development, your contribution to society.